In the foggy winter of January 1951, one of the most distinguished sons of Assam passed away.
Hey Mrittu, Namaskar. Sokur panire tur pujar horai, iman jatiskar.
As a creative man, he was a great admirer of light and beauty. In this Ode to Death, written by him, he warmly and gracefully welcomed the end of life.
Andhokaror hipare jolise tur pohoror de. Tur dekholoi jaboloi kone pinile notun be.
I salute thee, O Death. Thine flower-bedecked altar is so beautiful, so peaceful. I see the land of light beyond the engulfing darkness.
Prithibi juri ahoratri, tur dekholoi jabo je jatri, siramauno vishwamatri muktidatri.
Death to him was to step into the land of light. He died very young, only at the age of 48. But even within such a short span of life, he contributed much as a playwright, as a poet, as a creative musician, as the pioneer of Assamese films, as an undaunted freedom fighter, and as a great revolutionary artist. He contributed much in diverse ways in bringing about a modern Assamese cultural resurgence. He was Jyotiprasad Agarwala. Jyotiprasad was the fourth generation of a family which came to Assam from Rajasthan. His grandfather, Navrang Agarwala, after losing his parents at an early age, came to Assam in search of a livelihood at the age of 17. Navrang Agarwala married an Assamese girl, built a permanent abode at Gameri of Darang district, and got himself completely assimilated into Assamese society. He even accepted Vaishnavism. In 4 generations, the Agarwalas not only absorbed the local religion, language, and cultural pattern, but also contributed a lot in enriching Assamese culture and literature. Navrang and his wife were blessed with 3 sons, Haribilas, Thanuram, and Kashinath. Thus, a family began to grow, the ancestors of which came from outside, but became an integral part of the place where they settled down. Among the 3 sons of Navrang, Haribilas, born in 1842, was the most enterprising and adventurous. He was the first Assamese to visit far-off places of our country, and even ventured to land in Ceylon. Haribilas launched a rubber business in Assam, and successfully spread his business contacts even to South India. The Vaishnav culture, embraced by the Agarwalas, was founded in Assam by the great saint Shankardev, more than 500 years ago. Shankardev successfully banished the evil of untouchability from the conservative society of Assam. His message of love and amity was accepted by the people, irrespective of caste, creed, or community. A great follower of Shankardev, Haribilas undertook the responsibility of spreading the messages of the great saint by publishing his kirtans and namghoshas in 1876. Later, Shankardev's Gunamala, Bhatima, Borgit, Dashams, etc. were also published by Haribilas. Chandrakumar Agarwala, the second son of Haribilas, was a great poet. Jyotiprasad's uncle, Ananda Chandra Agarwala, was also a poet and creative writer. Jyotiprasad's father, Paramananda Agarwala, was himself a good singer and an expert violin player. His mother, Kiranmoyi, was an exponent of Assamese folk songs. So, from early childhood, Jyotiprasad also developed a keen sense of music and a deep love for the glorious traditions of Assam. Jyotiprasad was born at the Tamulbadi tea estate, Dibrugarh, in 1903. He was brought up at a time when there was a renaissance in society. Assamese literature was embracing new ideas and expanding its horizon. Jyotiprasad inherited humanism and liberal attitudes from his parents. After his basic training at home, Jyotiprasad was sent to Tezpur for formal education. Here he was exposed to some beautiful historical and mythological monuments. Tezpur was previously known as Shonitpur. Shonit in Assamese means blood. It derived its name from the blood that was shed here in the fierce battle between Lord Krishna and Bana, the local king. Bana's daughter, Usha, was in love with Aniruddha. When Aniruddha came to meet Usha at Agnigarh, a highly protected palace surrounded by fire, he was caught red-handed. Lord Krishna dutifully came to the rescue of his grandson. A fierce battle followed between Bana and Krishna, and a river of blood began to flow. Hence the name Shonitpur. Jyotiprasad had a boisterous childhood here, full of play and boyish pranks. So his parents decided to send him to Dibrugarh High School to complete his studies under the strict guardianship of his two uncles, Chandrakumar and Anand Kumar Agarwala. But for family reasons, Jyotiprasad was soon taken back to Tezpur High School. And from here, he prepared to sit for the matriculation examination. And that was a time of national awakening. In 1921, the students of Assam, in response to the call of the All India Students' Conference, decided to boycott schools and colleges. Along with many other students, Jyotiprasad also left school and joined the non-cooperation movement. That was the beginning of another important facet of this creative man. In 1919, the infamous Rowlatt Act, passed by the British rulers, led to passive resistance organized by Mahatma Gandhi. He canalized the agitation of the people into a vibrant but non-violent movement. In 1921, Gandhiji's visit to Assam with the Ali brothers gave a fillip to the agitation. Ex-Member of Parliament, Robin Kagati, elucidates. In 1921, Gandhiji came to Assam and visited Tezpur. Jyotiprasad's ancestral house became the main center of activities of the Congress in Assam. Jyotiprasad was only 18 when Gandhiji visited Assam and stayed in Poki, the house of the Agarwalas in Tezpur. This provided Jyotiprasad a rare chance to come very close to the Mahatma, whose teachings left an abiding impression on his young mind. When the Congress was declared illegal, Jyotiprasad's father, Padmananda, built a small house in the compound of his residence and converted that house into the office of the Congress at Tezpur. Padmananda was arrested, but he came out on bail and appealed to the High Court. The court ordered his release. Young Jyotiprasad got involved with the political activities. But the family members of Jyotiprasad insisted that he complete his formal education. He was sent to Jatiya Vidyapith in Calcutta, established by Chittaranjan Das. Jyotiprasad passed his matriculation examination. For higher education, he sought admission in the National College, Calcutta. But as the college was closed down by the authorities, Jyotiprasad had to come back to Assam. He joined the printing press of his uncle, Chandrakumar Agarwala, at Guwahati. Even while learning printing, he devoted himself to reading literature and listening to music, and gradually prepared himself for a substantial contribution to the creative world. His exceptional ability as a playwright is quite evident even in his first play, Shonit Kuwari. It is essentially a mythological play, but Jyotiprasad recreated the theme to give a feel of contemporary society.
তেওঁ মোৰ জীৱনৰ একমাত্ৰ দেৱতা এইটো সঁচা জানা সখী সখী মই হাঁহি ধেমালিৰে উৰাই দিম বুলিছোঁ পিছে মিছা সখী বেজাৰ নকৰিবা দেই মই তেওঁ আনি দিব সখী তেওঁক তুমি আনি দিবা আনি দিম কিন্তু কেনেকৈ সখী মই তিনিও ভুৱন
Usha, the daughter of King Bana, has seen in her dreams a very handsome and charming prince with whom she has instantly fallen in love. She discloses the matter to her close maid, Jyotiprasad, who is a competent painter. As Usha cannot distinctly recognize the person who appeared in her dream, Jyotiprasad volunteers to draw the portraits of all the probable princes of the three worlds to help Usha in identifying the person. She goes on painting the portraits of the charming persons among the Devas, the Danavas, the Gandharvas and the Kinnaras. About Jyotiprasad's plays and his caliber as a playwright, eminent critic Satyaprasad Barua says,
when he was only 14-year-old, but he rewrote it, revised it several times, and ultimately it came up to the stage. In this play, certain significant contributions were made, particularly in respect of stage songs.
Siwa Hoki, Devotai Kumar Hokol, Gandharva Kinna, Rupavan Birjaban. Hoine? Nai Hoki? Nai.
Chitralekha continues drawing the portraits of all the probable persons. She draws the images of all the valiant warriors of the different worlds, but none looks exactly the same as the person whom Usha saw in her dream. At last, Chitralekha starts drawing the portraits of the Manab Kumars.
Sunit Kauri, though a mythological play, we find in it the social atmosphere of the present times. And that is why perhaps in an All India festival in 1955, this play came out first as a folk play. The Sunit Kauri gave a new turn to Assamese playwriting.
Gokulor hodo gopika horbari eri motulia patat tuliluhi muhot kolia.
When she draws the portrait of Krishna, Usha says, yes, the person of her dream is almost like this, but not this one. Chitralekha gets the clue, and she finally draws the image of Aniruddha.
Kiswa, Modanor Alokwa, Hontan Roton, Aniruddha Nate, Sri Krishna.
Usha at once recognizes the charming prince of her dreams and jumps in ecstasy. Chitralekha is also delighted. She feels extremely gratified by helping her beloved princess in identifying the person of her dream.
After Sunit Kauri, he wrote the draft for his second play, Karangaligiri, and went to England and visited several places of Europe, while he learnt filmmaking also.
What is the difference between love and marriage? Marriage approves physical relations. Society expects the couple to develop a mental relation as well. But in a mental relation, which is love, there may not be any physical relationship at all. Then, these are two different things? Yes. Then you don't mind in staying physically in one place, but mentally in another. Well, what's wrong with it? You can physically stay inside this room, but mentally you can roam about in the high Himalayas. But you also like to confine yourself within the parameters of societal rules, don't you? Yes? Yes? Well, if you admit this, then you should love only the man to whom you are married by society. Rules framed by the society are to be followed equally by everybody. But in case of men, society is not so keen to ensure that the rules are being followed meticulously. They want the rules to be followed religiously only by women. Is chastity only physical? Yes, society is satisfied with that. But not me. Society may bend down to certain rules, but not Sundar. You have married me for the satisfaction of society, and society will be satisfied with your physical chastity. Well, you have married me as a social custom, and you have developed a physical relation with me, as per the expectations of society. So you have also accepted the rules. But you are keeping your mind with someone else. Why should you bother about that? You have developed a physical relation with me as per the directives of society, without caring for a mental relation. The greatness of genuine love is ultimately realized by the husband, Sundar Kaur. Jyotiprasad developed this play when he was in Europe, so naturally, his creative mind would have derived some inspiration from Henrik Ibsen and Galsworthy. Jyotiprasad very deftly brought about the lyrical and romantic beauty of the plot through the unobtrusive maid of the palace, Sevali, who nurtured a silent love in the core of her heart for the Prince Sundar, and ultimately sacrificed her life to save him from ignominy. Jyotiprasad's untiring quest for a new identity of his creations inspired him to bring about a fusion of the new wave of European drama with the traditional form of his own soil. Thematically, in all his plays, Jyotiprasad was very modern.
This play brought in that discussion type of play which was prevalent in Europe to Assam. It was a debate-oriented discussion play. That is the new thing which it introduced in Karangaliri.
তোমার স্বামী এখন কোনো কথা গুপুতে না গুপুলি প্রকাশ কৰি হা দেখুৱাই তুমি তোমাৰ মানসিক নিৰ্ভীকতা দেখুৱাইছা কিন্তু আকৌ আনফালে সেই বাস্তৱ আৰু জীৱন্ত সত্যক উপেক্ষা কৰি নিৰ্মম আৰু কঠোৰভাৱে ভৰিৰে মোহাৰি সমাজৰ প্ৰাণহীন নিয়ম প্ৰতিকৈ মানি মোৰ সদা সংহাৰ কৰিবলৈ বাদ পাৰিছা এই পৰস্পৰ ঘূৰ বিৰোধী কথাৰ তুমি মিলন বিচাৰিছা বিশেষকৈ মই যেতিয়া তোমাৰ সকলো কথা বুজি তোমাক সহায় কৰিবলৈ হা কৰি আগবাঢ়িছো
Rupalim, as a manuscript, came out after Karangaliri, but it was printed after his death. Even then, we consider Rupalim to be his third play.
পখিলানো পৰা ফুলৰ পাহিৰ দৰে ঘুমুৰাৰ বাটেই তুমি শিয়ৰি উঠিছা লিগিৰি সকলোবোৰ যতনাই থৈ দে তাতে থৈ তহত গৈ মোক আৰু সংগীত নালাগে মই এতিয়া সংগীততকৈও শুৱলা ৰূপালীমৰ মাত শুনিম সকলোবোৰ বন্তি নুমুৱাই দে ৰূপালীমৰ ৰূপেই মোৰ কথা জোনাকী কৰি ৰাখিব
Rupalim is more or less a romantic play, but the main theme being love and jealousy. The conflict was between love and jealousy. And the central character is Rupalim, but it was woven around Manimugdha and another girl, Itiven. Itiven and Rupalim loved Manimugdha. But as a matter of fact, Rupalim was fond of another boy called Mayaba. But Manimugdha was infatuated by the beauty of Rupalim and wanted to grab her. But ultimately Rupalim's sincerity conquered him, and that love of Manimugdha for Rupalim was sublimated.
মৰ্মৰ মূৰ্তি আৰত আৰু জীৱলগা ৰূপ লুকাই নথবা আন্ধাৰ নিশাৰ হিমচেঁচা সৰোবৰৰ পানীত স্পন্দন আৰু ফুলকবিহীন পদুমৰ দৰে নৰবা তোমাৰ ৰূপৰ লহৰ তুলি তোমাৰ সৌন্দৰ্যৰ নিজৰাৰে মোক মোক ধুৱাই দিয়া আহাৰ বলিন আহাৰ বলিন
In Rupalin, set against a tribal background, a patriotic fervor runs through the main theme and finds expression in the forceful overtures and inspiring speeches of Ithivan. From the silent surrender of Rupalin, Mani Mugdha, like Sundar of Karingor Liguri, realizes the greatness of genuine love. Jyotiprasad's Rupalin is more emotional than intellectual, although the plot construction and characterizations bear testimony of his genius as a playwright. Dialogues are as usual rich in literary and lyrical fervor. Jyotiprasad himself admitted that while writing Rupalin, he had Maeterlinck's Mona Vana in his mind. But even the discerning critic will agree that both in characterization and plot construction, Jyotiprasad deviated much from the French play.
তুমি মোক ক্ষমা কৰিবা তুমি যোৱা তুমি যোৱা তুমি মুক্ত
In Labhita, he experimented with a new technique.
In this offbeat play, the creative genius of Jyotiprasad has heralded the dawn of a new era in the realm of Assamese theatre.
তোমালোক আগবাঢ়ি যোৱা এই নিশান আমি আৰু আগবঢ়াই নিব লাগিব অসমৰ বুকুলৈ ভাৰতৰ বুকুলৈ লুইতৰ পাৰলৈ দিল্লীলৈ লাল কিল্লালৈ জয় হিন্দ সৈন্যসকল আগবাঢ়ি যোৱা লবিতা তোমালোকে নিশানৰ তলতেই থাকিব লাগিব
It may be called an anti-hero play. The canvas was very big. The Second World War and the advances of Netaji's INA force towards Assam.
Critics say that the peoples were the heroes and the heroine of this play. Jyotiprasad himself wrote in the preface that in this play he tried that new technique of epic theatre, epic grandeur, and epic canvas he selected for this play, a big canvas.
He wanted to show how an ordinary, uneducated and simple village maiden reacted to the circumstances. Labhita, who stands courageously against all oppression, is killed ultimately when she attempts to plant the Indian national flag on the soil of British-occupied India.
Nimati Kanya is a verse play based on a folk tale, but Jyotiprasad recreated it to suit modern sensibility.
Garu Maharaj, Uliao Temte Math, Ei Pogalai. Kintu Maharaj, Mathu ek shortot hobo paro ami honmot. Ki hei shorto? Bodwayu jodi math ei Pogalai, Artharajjar Kanya kodapi ne paiten ei Pogalai. প্রতিজ্ঞার রক্ষার তেমতে নিদিয়ে উপায় বারু তেমতে জুয়া গই মোড়া কেউ নাই না লাগে মাতিব মূর্তি মাতি কন্যায় রজাময় রজা পারিখতাক বিতুষ্ট করিবলৈ অধিকার নাই
Nimati Kanya or the silent princess never talked. No one could make her talk. Only when the artist philosopher came, sang and danced before her, she started talking.
নিমাতির মাতর কারণে খুনি মানবর এক আট্ট আহ্বান আহিছিল উলিয়াম বলি নিমাতির মা কিন্তু যিতুজনে ধরে শক্তি নিমাতিক মাত মতাবৰ তার হতুয়াই মাত মতুয়াই খুলিব খুজিছে এই প্রতিমা সুন্দর
It is not known why Jyotiprasad called his Nimati Kanya a play for children. It is a symbolic play written in a highly philosophical vein, highlighting the role of a poet-philosopher in society. Like Brecht, Jyotiprasad also borrowed the theme of the play from a folklore and highlighted a subject which is thought-provoking and even relevant to contemporary society. In between the dialogues, Jyotiprasad used dramatic verses and lilting songs to make it even more attractive.
কল্পনা বলিরে পূজা অন্তরর স্থাপনাত
হাপিলোৱা ভাৱৰ লখিমী জাগা জাগা মানস ভৰি জাগা তন্দ্ৰা এৰি ৰূপৰে কুঁৱৰী কবিতাৰ কবি প্ৰতিভা উন্মেষী
Jyotiprasad's message was this, that only the artist philosopher can awaken a nation from stupor and slumber.
জাগা জাগা সেইদৰে তুমি জাগা জাগা সেইদৰে তুমি হে মোৰ কণ্ঠৱতী মোৰ সাধনাৰ সৰোবৰ মতি আহা আহা মোৰ জীৱনৰ সকলো সপোনৰ কল্পনাৰ ৰাজভৱনৰ কুশানী ৰাণী আহা জাগা উঠা জাগা
His chronicle was on the need of doing something for sculpture. The manuscript was staged once at the one theatre at Tezpur, but he didn't get any time to revise the script.
If we are to single out a particular field of artistic activity in which Jyotiprasad was most prolific and as a creative man was at his best, it is undoubtedly his music. Music composition was his real forte. He was a composer par excellence. His songs bear the stamp of his unique aesthetic sensibility. He composed about 500 songs, wrote lyrics, and composed music in his own style, and won the hearts of the people of Assam. A great exponent of music, Dr. Biren Datta says,
to say that Jyotiprasad was a great music composer, or that he had given a new direction to modern Assamese music. In fact, he was much more than an ordinary music maker. For Jyotiprasad, music was not just a means of entertainment. He wanted it to be a social instrument also. And as far as Indian music and Assamese music is concerned, he thought that there should be what may be called the confluence of three streams, particularly in respect of Assamese music, modern Assamese music. He said that it should be a confluence of three streams. First, the stream of Indian classical music, of which we have a very rich heritage. Secondly, the stream of Assamese traditional music. And thirdly, the stream of Western music with its concept of harmony. And in fact, in many of his compositions, we find the reflection of these ideas.
In his songs, we find a remarkable combination of tradition and innovation, a wonderful harmony between lilting tunes, which bear his own stamp, and highly lyrical words. Green, green is the lovely earth. In the lap of the meadow, golden crops sway. Crimson fruits and flowers in sunshine glisten. With our tears we have watered and kept alive the pearl-like paddy. We have brought you to the harvest of the world. Jyotiprasad spearheaded a movement for the utilization of Assamese folk tunes in modern compositions. And in this respect, he ushered in a new era in the realm of Assamese music. He inherited a love for traditional songs from his mother, Kiran Moi. Music had a special place in his family. Jyotiprasad's son, Shri Chinmoy Agarwala, tells us. Jyotiprasad's musical training started from his early childhood. His mother was a vocal singer, singing traditional songs of Assam, and his father, Parmananda, was a good violin player. They had their influence on Jyotiprasad.
Indian classical music and Assamese folk music blend kori ek শংকৰদেৱৰ পিছতে এক নতুন সংগীতৰ ধাৰা সৃষ্টি কৰে
In many of the songs composed by Jyotiprasad, we find a mystic longing for the supreme beauty of light. Say, for instance, in this particular song, he is all praise for the divine glow of light. Hail, holy light! Victory be to the light and to the great ideals of humanism. Let thy beauty be ever victorious. In reminiscence, the sister-in-law of Jyotiprasad, Srimati Meena Agarwala, says, after a hard day's labor as the chief of the volunteer force in Assam, Jyotiprasad naturally used to come back home very tired. But he never failed to sit with his organ to compose his music, and those moments were very pleasant for the members of his family. As the Agarwalas were followers of Vaishnavism, Krishna had a special place in the family. To Jyotiprasad, Krishna was a Sakha, a dear friend, to whom he revealed some of his intimate feelings. Jyotiprasad explored the possibilities of installing the rich traditional music of Assam in its rightful place, while the neo-elites of Assam were hankering after or favoring songs composed in Bengali and Hindustani. Instead of composing in one or two fixed patterns of his own style, Jyotiprasad preferred to be creative in each of his compositions. That is the reason why we get so much variety in his songs. Each is different from the other.
লগাতে কোনে চন্দন পিন্ধালে শ্যাম লগাতে কোনে চন্দন পিন্ধালে
And Jyotiprasad, in fact, was inspired by Gandhi's call for non-cooperation, and that fired in him the zeal to search for the Assamese heritage in music.
Jyotiprasad had the conviction that in bringing about radical changes in the socio-political scene of the subjugated country, the younger generation would play the most vital role. Jyotiprasad wanted to inspire the younger people to discharge their responsibilities towards the motherland. We are the young men on the bank of Luith. We are not afraid to die. Even if the priest retraces his steps and faints in alarm before the sparks of the sacrificial fire of freedom, we shall undauntedly go forward. We shall stretch out our necks, and we shall smear the sacrificial altar with our blood. His patriotic songs became popular in those days of national awakening. To protest against the misrule of the government, an all-night procession was organized by Jyotiprasad in 1936, in which people, participating in large numbers, sang patriotic songs composed by him. After traversing several miles at night, the processionists joined a mammoth rally at 8 a.m. Even today, these songs are very dear to the people of Assam. Jyotiprasad's poetic genius helped him to write songs in the best of words, arranged in the best of order. In many of his songs and poems, he highlighted the socio-political situation of his time and expressed deep sympathy for the oppressed and downtrodden. No, this man is not acting on stage. He's reciting a poem written by Jyotiprasad Agarwala on the adversity of a Dafala peasant during British rule. While giving birth to a baby, my wife expired without any medical aid. My boy was like a little doll, but he too died out of starvation, as I was ill and could not go to the field for work. You have seized my buffaloes, my pigs, my chickens, my ducks. Now, what else do you want to take? My plot of land? Why? Is it the inherited property of the government? God has given me this land for cultivation. Why should you snatch it from me? You have taken everything from us, but could not cure our ills. Still, you want to tax us. I am not afraid of your seniors. Why should I be afraid of you? I am not going to give you the tax. No, I am not going to give you the tax. An eminent poet and literator of Assam, Sri Navakanta Barua, says,
I have read his poetry and heard his poetry recited by many.
This poem is on the inevitability of transformation in life. The poet gives a clarion call to bring about changes in society. The content of the poem may be a little difficult for her to understand, but she loves to recite the poem because to her the vocal sound of the words are interesting. Many of his poems are both exhortative and powerful in ideas. Some poems express a musical and rhythmical harmony of a kind that appeals more to our dramatic sense. Some poems are monologues, and some poems are conversations.
He didn't belong to the general tradition of Assamese poetry. He did something new to it. He combined song and poetry.
To Jyotiprasad, unity was vital for a resurgent nation to achieve its goal. In his Ahomia Dekar Ukti, Utterances of an Assamese Youth, written in 1943, we find an Assamese youth is speaking in the first person, in a collective sense, on the vital issue of unity. I am the Assamese of Prague Jyotish. I am the Assamese of Shonitpur. I am a Khasi. I am a Jayantia, Dafola, Abor, Oka. I am a Lalung, a Lushai, a Mikir, a Garo, and a Naga Angami hero. He wrote, I am the current of 100 streams, of many, so many hills and valleys. I flow defying all obstacles in my way, and become one merging with the Luhit.
he was an Assamese as a poet. He was an Indian as a man of culture, and he was at the same time, he was a citizen of the world.
Listen to the songs of the people of the world. Maintain the distinctive traits of your many splendored civilized lives. Be friends with one another. This is the unity hymn of the new world. Thus I wrote the scripture of mankind. This will be the ideal life in this world. All ye sons of man, be one today. Speak in unison. Sing the same song. Be of the same mind, same aim, and of one integrated life.
মই সপোনত দেখিলো দুটা ভূতৰ পোৱালি আৰু দুজনী নাক জিলিকা চকু তেলেকা পিলিকা 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 চকৰি পোৱালি.
Jyotiprasad's poems for children show he had a deep love for them and an understanding of their inner mind. In this poem, Jyotiprasad shows the child of a ghost as the child of a human being. About this particular poem, Jyotiprasad's daughter says, "We were very much afraid of ghosts in our childhood, and our father was worried about that. He then wrote this poem on ghosts, and we found in it that the children of ghosts were as lively as children of human beings, so we liked them."
মা তই যে কও ভূতে বুলে লৰা ধৰি খাই পুখুৰীলৈ নি বুলে ভৰি দুটা ওপৰ কৰি গুজি গুজি মূৰটো হেনো এহাত বুকাত সোমাই.
The poet successfully dispels the traditional sense of horror about ghosts from the minds of children.
সিহঁত দুটাই অলপোকে সাহেই কৰা নাই. মা ভয় কৰা লৰাকে ভূতে ধৰি কিলাই. মা মোৰ হলে ভূতলে ভয় নাই.
In 1926, Jyotiprasad went to England for higher studies in humanities. But a creative mind like him could not confine himself within the four walls of a classroom for a long period. He went to Germany and received formal training in film production and direction at the famous Universum Filmen Akitian Gerlhaft studio. After reaching his hometown, Tezpur, in 1930, Jyotiprasad devoted himself to the struggle for independence. In between 1931 and 32, he was jailed for a period of 15 months. While languishing in Silchar jail, Jyotiprasad wrote the screenplay of Joymoti, based on a historical play written by the eminent Assamese writer Lakshminath Bezbarua. An artist of that film, Sri Thanuram Bora, says, "Just after coming back from England, Jyotiprasad came to me one day and disclosed his plan for making a film, Joymoti. He decided to shoot the film at his Bholaguri tea garden and asked me to join him there. Accordingly, I reached Bholaguri with other members of the unit." Initially, Jyotiprasad planned to make Joymoti a silent film, but with the emergence of talkie films in India in 1931, with Adeshur Irani's Alam Ara, Jyotiprasad changed his mind and decided to make Joymoti a talkie film against all conceivable difficulties. For additional funds, he had to approach the senior members of his family, and while making the film, he had to ensure the utmost economy. Jyotiprasad converted a huge storehouse of the garden into a studio. The studio, named Chitravan, was perhaps the first indigenously made private film studio in India. But how was the film made? Sri Subha Barua, an artist of Jyotiprasad's film, says, "Each one of us had to do many tasks in giving a shape to the film. Right from the construction of the set to making up the artists, we had to extend our help. All of us worked with a team spirit. Modern makeup material was not available in those days. Nobody had even heard about crepe or wigs. Beard was provided to an actor, cutting a part of his own hair. And in the absence of spirit gum, a rubber solution, secotin, generally used for motor cars, was used to fix the beard." Ultimately, with the sincere cooperation of all the artists and co-workers, Joymoti, the first film of Jyotiprasad, took its final shape. The film was made under the banner of Chitra Lekha Movie Tone, Jyotiprasad's own organization. On the advice of his cameraman, B.S. Mehta, whom he recruited from Calcutta, Jyotiprasad used a battery-operated sound system, which was handled by the Fauji brothers from Lahore. The sound quality of the film suffered, either due to some fault in the machine or due to the low-grade recording by the inexperienced Fauji brothers. Jyotiprasad had to dub the defective portions of the dialogues of about 60 characters all by himself in a studio at Lahore, where he also edited and printed the film. As in those days, participation in a film by women was a social taboo, Jyotiprasad also had to face a lot of difficulty in getting female artists. This lady, Ideo Sandikoy, who is now rather old, came forward to act in the leading role of Joymoti. But as because in one sequence she touched the hero of the film, addressing him as my husband, all her life she had to remain a spinster. No male agreed to marry her. Jyotiprasad was the producer, scriptwriter, dance director, editor and director of the film Joymoti. Jyotiprasad's Joymoti did not receive the appreciation of the people of Assam because he was much ahead of his time. Notwithstanding its technical shortcomings such as faulty sound recording, absence of incidental sound and poor lighting of the interior scenes, Joymoti will be remembered for its artistic excellence. About his film, Jyotiprasad wrote, "While making Joymoti, I try to follow the style of direction and acting that are to be found in English and Russian films. It seems that even the renowned directors of Bengali and Hindi films have failed to see the difference between acting on stage and acting in films." To recover at least a part of the loss he suffered in making Joymoti, Jyotiprasad decided to make his second film, Indra Malati, in 1939. An artist and co-worker of the film, Sri Thanuram Bora, says, "One day he called me to his house and disclosed that he could not recover the investment of 60,000 rupees in Joymoti. So to compensate the loss, he planned to make the second film at a low budget. Indra Malati was made with a shoestring budget of only 20,000 rupees. The film was based on his own story and screenplay. Shooting was done without recording of the dialogues. Jyotiprasad took the film to Aurora Studio of Calcutta and completed all the related works there, including dubbing of the dialogues. But his dream of recovering the loss of the first film by making Indra Malati a success, however, became a reality. After completing his second film, Jyotiprasad had married Debjani Bhuiya in 1936. But he never rested in the cozy corner of the house with his family members. He always kept himself abreast with the political situation and never lagged behind in responding to the call of the nation to discharge his responsibility as a freedom fighter. Jyotiprasad's political activity started much earlier when, as a student, he boycotted school to join the non-cooperation movement. A contemporary of Jyotiprasad, Sri Robin Kakati, tells us, "On the 22nd of February 1932, the government declared the camp at Nikal Mua Chhatra illegal. To flush out the activists, the police surrounded the camp at night. As Jyotiprasad was not in the camp at that moment, he could not be arrested forthwith. But after a few days, he was apprehended and sentenced to rigorous imprisonment for 15 months and a fine of 500 rupees. Failing to pay the fine, imprisonment for another 6 months was ordered. His patriotic songs were banned, and for writing such provocative songs, he was sentenced to another term of 6 months imprisonment. While in Silchar jail, Jyotiprasad developed symptoms of tuberculosis. The people of Assam demonstrated for the release of their ailing leader. On certain conditions, the authorities agreed to release him for treatment, but Jyotiprasad refused to accept a conditional release. In the political scene, events were moving very fast. Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress ultimately came to the view that the British must leave India to its fate. On the 8th of August 1942, the Quit India resolution was adopted, and Mahatma Gandhi gave a clarion call to do or die. All the top national and prominent leaders of Assam were arrested. The people of Assam evolved their own program of resistance, adhering to the principle of non-violence. To meet the uncertain situation in the province arising out of the Second World War, a huge brigade of volunteers called Shanti Sena was formed. As the chief of the Assam Shanti Sena, Jyotiprasad took active part in organizing the volunteer corps from one end of Assam to the other. His powerful speeches in the public meetings motivated people to join the Peace Brigade. Jyotiprasad geared up the Shanti Sena and the Mrityu Bahini, the Death Squad, in such a powerful manner that the British spies became suspicious about his motive and kept a close watch on his movement. Jyotiprasad was devoted totally in the organizational work of the Congress at Darang, Goalpara, Dhubri, Nagaon and other districts. A warrant was issued against him. To avoid arrest, Jyotiprasad had to go underground, leaving behind his 17-day-old son, his ailing wife and 3 daughters to their fate. That was the time when his first son was born and his wife was seriously suffering from anemia. As regards his political ideology, eminent revolutionary Sri Lakshadhar Chaudhary says,
joined that movement earlier. At that time, Jyotiprasad ji with his 6 associates break Hazaribagh jail and absconded from jail premises. It was a great news to the absconding people of India, and more so in Calcutta and Bombay, there was a very big enthusiasm among the underground workers.
At Calcutta, Jyotiprasad passed his underground days in a hideout at Toliganj. Secret meetings were held here to formulate plans of action for the success of the August Revolution. The meetings were attended by the heroes of the 1942 movement: Jayaprakash Narayan, Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, Aruna Asif Ali, and Lakshadhar Chaudhary.
Not enough to be present at the time. They are discussing about the future movement, underground movement, which is a very delicate issue to the Gandhian people.
Jyotiprasad was declared an absconder by the British government, and the property of his family was confiscated. But his brothers and relatives were not ready to part with the property for the sake of Jyotiprasad's political ideology. They abandoned him.
Jyotiprasad was Gandhian in core, but he, according to the advice of Gandhiji, do or die call, he adopted secrecy. That was a mental agony of Jyotiprasad, secrecy and satyagraha. He often discussed with us about satyagraha and secrecy. Sometimes he says that secrecy is sin. At last he said that Gandhi, non-violence, do not recognize secrecy. So we must surrender before the British government.
Jyotiprasad surrendered in August 1943. Gandhiji also asked the underground activists to surrender to the authorities. When freedom came, Jyotiprasad was also in a joyous mood, like millions of his countrymen. Sri Chandraprasad Saikya, eminent writer, elaborates. Jyotiprasad believed that independence of the Indian people would raise a ray of hope for all the subjugated people of the world. Liberty of a human being was always hailed by him. Even in his first film, Joymoti, Jyotiprasad glorified the spirit of sacrifice for freedom in the main character. But very soon, Jyotiprasad was disillusioned about the prospect of a better life for the downtrodden of free India. He felt the necessity of continuing the struggle for bringing about a radical change in society. The socio-political situation gradually dragged him towards leftist ideologies. As a creative person, at one time Jyotiprasad used the IPTA platform to great effect and wanted more and more people to participate in the activities of this organization. He believed People's Theatre should stir people, and all its activities should be attuned, taking into consideration the level of their understanding and consciousness. In Assam, the police resorted to firing for the first time after independence at Naliapol in Dibrugarh district in July 1949. The police oppression let loose in the conference culminated in the firing, in which Beena Vora, a teenage girl, and Shorosi Nag, mother of a laborer, lost their lives. The police atrocities on innocent people greatly shocked Jyotiprasad. In his famous article, The Danger Signal of Naliapol, he ruthlessly criticized the aggression. The Congress, the believers of non-violence, must not follow the footsteps of the imperialist Britishers in dealing with the opposition in free India. There must be a basic difference. If they think non-violence to be a science of defense, then should they not apply it, even on an experimental basis, to deal with the opposition? He wrote, I want to tell the idealists and reformers that they shall have to accept non-violence as the ultimate and supreme ideal of human life. Jyotiprasad completely identified himself with suffering humanity when he wrote, "The pain of the world is my own pain. I see myself in them. I become one with them." When he started staying permanently in Tamilbadi tea estate, Jyotiprasad realized the real problems of the laborers. He made plans for their upliftment. When he found that there was not even a primary school for the children of the laborers, he established a school and appointed teachers. Jyotiprasad's children were also sent to the same school. While he was the resident director of the Tamilbadi tea estate, he himself took the initiative to form a union of the laborers of his tea garden, a rare example indeed. Consequently, he became an eyesore for the fellow tea planters and extremely unpopular among the other directors of his own tea estate. 1949 to 1951, the last phase of Jyotiprasad's life, was pathetic. He had to constantly fight on two fronts, against the retributive measures of the board of directors and to keep himself fit against acute illness. On the 30th of November, 1949, his wife Devjani passed away. The heavens fell on Jyotiprasad. In those moments of darkness, the board of directors resolved that he should not continue in the post of resident director and he must leave the garden and vacate the bungalow. During those days of pain and agony, he used to maintain a personal diary, from the pages of which we have come to know how worried he was for some loans to be paid back. Some monies were to be arranged for, and some family problems were to be solved. He also noted the day-to-day deterioration of his health, the failure of his stomach to receive any food. Monetarily, the worst time of his life. His eldest daughter Jayasri says that, during the last phase of his life, he regularly read out the Gita to them and advised them to follow the ideals preached in the scripture. He wanted the children to recite the lines along with him. Another daughter, Monma, says, "Though our father was born with a silver spoon, yet he lived like a common man. He dedicated his life to the upliftment of the downtrodden." Another daughter, Aku, reminds us how deeply their father followed the ideals of Shankar Dev, Sri Krishna and Mahatma Gandhi. The youngest daughter, Sanu, feels sorry because she was too young to remember the days when her father was in peak form. But after growing up, when she learnt about him, she feels extremely proud to be his daughter. But, frustrating all the prayers of his children and close relatives, Jyotiprasad's health deteriorated further, and a time came when he had to be rushed to Shillong for an immediate operation. But he was suffering from cancer of the stomach, and it was too late to recover. When Jyotiprasad understood that he had reached the last stage of his life, he insisted on being taken back to Poki at Tezpur. Lying in his deathbed, he asked his relatives to keep all the doors and windows wide open so that more light may come in. Death to him was peaceful, to enter into the land of light, lying beyond the engulfing darkness. It was 20 minutes past 3 in the afternoon on the 17th of January 1951, when the great worshipper of beauty and light left for the land of eternal light.
Jaya Jaya Hundara Hoito Hanatana Jaya Jaya Hundara Hoito Hanatana Sira Prakhanta Visapoti Sira Prakhanta Visapoti Jaya Koti Viswavyapaka He Mahamanadhipa Koti Viswavyapaka He Mahamanadhipa Visajiyana Jyoti Visajiyana Jyoti Jaya